Hey, it's the right Rican, and we're all waiting for the Rittenhouse verdict. We're all waiting to go hear what's going on. It's crazy. It's been 3 days. What this prosecutor has done is ridiculous. That alone should cause a mistrial. MSNBC had a reporter following the jurors, recording them. Now MSNBC is barred from the courtroom. Crazy. All right. But this is not what I want to talk about. Just because I just wanted to talk about that briefly, because like I said, we're all waiting in suspense to see what's going on with this verdict. And I've been waiting, but nothing's come up. So I was hoping to make the video on that, but no. But I saw this video from this Chinese dissident called Ai Weiwei, and he I think it's funny how they always want to link authoritarianism with Trump. Always they want to make it and it sells because the media has done a good job at it. But this PBS reporter, she got I guess she got more than she bargained for when she approached this subject with this Chinese dissident. So I'm going to play it for you real quick. Just pick up the volume, and here we go.
In your book, you're describing the directives of Mao Zedong during the Cultural Revolution that would be distributed publicly every night. And then you write, this is your quote, they served a function similar to Donald Trump's late night tweets while in office. They were the direct communication of a leader's thoughts to his devoted followers, enhancing the sanctity of his authority. So do you see Donald Trump as an authoritarian?
I don't, if you're authoritarian, you have to have a system in supporting you. You cannot just be authoritarian by yourself. But certainly in United States, with today's condition, you can easily have an authoritarian. In many ways, you're already in the authoritarian state. You just don't know it.
How so?
Many things happens today in US can be compared to cultural revolution in China.
Like what?
Like people trying to be unified in certain political correctness. That is very dangerous. You want to go deeper?
And there it goes. She got burned trying to compare it to Trump. And there he goes, and he went and he broke it down. And exactly what I've said in videos, that that we're in the middle of the Cultural Revolution right now in our country. And so when I say when I speak, like my video the other day about the big lie and saying CRT is Marxist, it's not just CRT. But like I said, I broke it down. I showed you how you could, CRT being critical theory and all that stuff. But that's where we are at right now. We're in a battle for the soul of the country. Do we continue to uphold our constitutional values? Do we continue to value freedom over, let's say, security, over safety, over comfort? Do we value freedom more? Do we, like he was talking about with this political correctness, what's the political correctness of the day right now? And it's that whole It's the whole wokeness, and I'm going to show you a little clip from Bill Maher and Chris Cuomo. There you go. I was about to say Fredo.
A quick question. Woke. The response from the people that you put it on will say, no. Woke is aware and inclusive. And there is no cancel culture. It's just accountability. These are not bad things. They are good things. Disagree.
Well, woke, yes. I mean, I don't remember the day the term was born, although I hear AOC says only old people use it now. Well, you gave it to us like 5 years ago. So sorry we didn't get the memo right away. You know, that's such a high school thing. We're not using that anymore. We all wear pink on Wednesdays. Okay, you whatever term you want. I don't care. Again, I just got used to this one. And yes, in its best sense, if we're talking about being aware of things that we always should have been aware of more, reckonings that we've had with sexual malfeasance, with racial injustice, that's all a good thing. But there's a reason why the term woke has come to signify going too far and doing things that don't make sense. I keep saying this to the Democratic Party. The reason why you're so toxic is because you have become the party of no common sense. And people see this on their news feeds. I mean, you were saying to me in the break, people mostly go on with their lives. They do, but they see things on their phone or on their Facebook page. People pass things around. And it's a constant drip, drip, drip of, oh, these people are not.
And that's what, you know, like I said, I've always talked about, once I read into that, the four olds into the Cultural Revolution in China, I noticed right away, when you read that, you can't look at that and go, this is what's going on. And, you know, now, and this is what the left does. They always want to change the vernacular, make words mean different things, or stop using certain words once they get a negative connotation. Because now, you know, now woke has a negative connotation, and the battle to change woke from something positive to negative, they're losing it. So now it's like, oh, well, we don't use woke anymore. You know, it's the same thing with like, let's go Brandon. Like the left now, well, you know, you could say F Biden. It's, you know, be a grown up. You know, you don't have to say let's go Brandon. And it's like, no, it bothers you guys. It really does. If it didn't bother you guys wouldn't be, you know, trying to play it off like it doesn't. And that's the same thing with what's gone on with woke. Woke used to be a, you know, it used to be a positive thing, and now it's a negative thing because people go too far. I was just reading an article about a Canadian professor saying that we should call pedophilia minor attracted person, which is disgusting. It's like, you know, there's such thing as over acceptance. It's like you accept people, I shouldn't say, the over tolerance. That's the word. Because in our society today, we confuse tolerance for acceptance. Because, and they've changed the word. It's like basically when you see them talking about tolerance, it's accepting. And it's like, as a Christ follower, you believe, you know, you hate the sin, but love the sinner. And it's the same concept. You sorry, I had to pause. So I got to get back my train. So I said, love the sin, hate the sin, love the sinner. And that's the whole thing with tolerance. You could tolerate someone's behavior. You don't have to like it. That, you know, and that's the whole thing. They make it seem like you have to, you know, in order to affirm who you are, I have to accept everything about you. And that's not the truth. You could not like people, things that people do, but still like the person. You know, that's what goes on in the society right now. You know, I just because the fact that, let's say, I like let's say you have a transfer, okay, you love that transfer, and but that doesn't mean, let's say for example, that you're okay with children being taught that gender, confusing children with this whole gender fluidity stuff, because all it does is, if adults can't understand it, what makes you think that you're going to teach you know, telling kids, oh no, you know, you can't know if you're a boy or you're a girl. It's they just let them be kids. Expose that to them, not when they're small. Expose that to them when they're older, when they could almost understand it. Not at, you know, not when they're in kindergarten, not when they're in elementary school. But you're a bigot if you disagree with, if you think that that should be, you're against that being taught. And the same thing goes. So that's the problem. What's going on with woke, with the wokeness, and they want to change. They could change the words to whatever they want. Like Bill Maher said, he's like, whatever you want to call it. It's, you know, and you know, with Chris Cuomo, with that nonsense, with the accountability, and no, you know, that's not accountability. When you're going, and like what the dissidents said, you know, the political correctness, and that you have to align ideologically with these people. And right now, you know, like in the 90s, you had the religious right, and that was the political correctness of the day, but they didn't win. What's going on now is you have this new political correctness with wokeness, and it needs to be fought, because if they win, the cultural revolution in this country will be successful. That's what's going on. So we need to understand, people on the right. We need to awaken our friends on the left on this. You can't just give up on them. You have to show them how it's crazy. Like I said, you know, show them how the woke professor went too far and wanted to talk about it being acceptable of pedophilia. You know, saying that it's a negative connotation, so let's change it to minor attracted person. Come on. That's like, you know, we went from, you know, you can't say midget, you got to say little people. It was a term, you know, you can't say, you have to be careful the contents you use the word retarded, because you use it in the sense of a person, it's offensive, but you could use it like the retarded portion of the music means that the music was just slowed. That, you know, so you got to be careful how you use a term. I mean, like I said, I always say, if George Carlin was alive today, he'd have a field day with these woke people. If they thought that Dave Chappelle was triggering, oh man, George Carlin would have had a field day. He loved to manipulate words. You know, for, you know, so like I said, you cannot quit. We can't give up on them. I mean, we have to consolidate our culture, because that's how we're going to win. That's how we win the battle for the minds. But we can't just give up on half the country. They may, you know, they may give up on us, doesn't mean that we give up on them. Like I said, you know, you love, you know, you hate the sin, you love the sinner. So just because these people have, you know, crazy thoughts, doesn't mean that you give up on them. It doesn't mean that you hate them. You know, you have to have some pity for these people who see white supremacy everywhere. You have, you know, I had someone call me white supremacist. I'm like, well, I must be the Puerto Ricanist white supremacist you've ever seen. And then he had to change course, because then it's like, oh, you're now, you know, white supremacist like yourself. It's like, oh, well, you know, you subscribe to white supremacist ideology. No, I just don't subscribe to woke ideology, where you want to divide, because you can't divide this country by class. Yes, we have billionaires and millionaires, but you know what? You do have people, let's say like athletes that bust their asses to become famous and make a ton of money. They build themselves out of nothing. You got people who start businesses that build themselves out of nothing. Actors and actresses, all these, but you mix that in, you have everyday people. Not everybody becomes those famous people. Not everybody becomes rich. But that's where that's why classism didn't take root, and that's why Marxism couldn't grow here. We had such a big middle class, that it couldn't get a stranglehold, it couldn't get a foothold. And now they got their foothold with this the critical theory, with critical race theory, critical gender theory, queer theory. All these offshoots of critical theory just replace the proletariat bourgeoisie with gender, with race, with sexuality, all of that stuff. Also like that, their ideology will reign supreme. But once their ideology reigns supreme, they eat themselves. That's what's going on. That's why you see, like, who could be woker, who will cancel who will make the other person accountable. That's why you see people, what's that, the lady that's attacking Dan Bongino's advertisers. That's not accountability culture. That's cancel culture, because now you're trying to take money from this man's pockets. That could be, anybody trying to get up. Is you have people like this trying to tear you down. And that's not, like I said, that's not accountability. That's it's just wrong. You're taking money out of somebody's pockets because you disagree with them. So what? Let's say, so it's okay for then that person to go and try to get your advertisers do mutually assured destruction. That's why you have like Dan Bongino trying to do parallel economies. That's why you have the Rumbles. That's why you have Locals and Minds and Gab and Clout House and Telegram. All these things are created because the fact that political correctness, that woke ideology, if the minute you cross it, and Twitter's not an alternative. All these other ones are alternative to that. Once you get out of their orthodoxy, that's the word I was looking for, orthodoxy. Once you get out of that orthodoxy, they have to get you out of those platforms. They have to get you out of Twitter. That's created an ideological bubble where people go onto Twitter and they think that's real life. They don't talk to everyday people. When I go to the supermarket, I talk to the cashiers. I go to the gym, I talk to other people in the gym. I talk to other people in the supermarket. Go to the park. When I take my kids to the park, I talk to other parents. And you see stuff that's going on. And the sad thing is, you could tell when without speaking to anyone, I could tell where people are ideologically. Whether it's a shirt they're wearing, just the mask. The mask alone by itself. If I go to a park and I see a little kid with a mask, I know they vote Democrat. It's a giveaway, because unless it's either that or you're extremely, extremely fearful. But I have not met a person yet that I have not met me being wrong on that. So, like I said, I mean, I do this in order to help maybe wake somebody up. So that's the irony of me battling woke, is the fact that it's for me to wake people out of that, that to get people out of that woke ideology, that political correctness. Because that political correctness that's going on in this country, like the other guy said, the Chinese dissident said, it's poison. It's destructive to our country. It's dividing our country. And ultimately, it's the cultural revolution right now. So where do you stand with the cultural revolution? Because a side needs to be picked. And if, there's no being neutral in this one. You have to pick a side. I'm sorry to say it. There's no, you can stand on the sidelines, but eventually it's going to get to you. So anyways, I'm gonna leave it there. The Ray Rican, you can follow me here on YouTube and Rumble. Let's see, I have some stuff going on. I have Michael Johns is coming back on my show, hopefully on Monday, if everything works out. I got a couple of other interviews lined up, Moms for Liberty, my local chapter. So stay tuned for that stuff. Hopefully you've made it this far. You can interact with me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, Clout Hub, all of those things I'm on. That being said, have a good one, everyone.